All right. All right, fam. Let's get it started. What's going on, fam? My name is Lawrence Martin, and I am with Cee Jay Besa, and we're going to talk a little bit about AI, or more technical, employing AI agents in your business. So, welcome,
Right on.
CJ. How's everything going, my guy?
Man, I'm doing outstanding. As a matter of fact, I'm doing better than good, better than most, and sometimes even better than that. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, excellent, man. I love that, brother. We connected years ago at an event that I had, and I was like, man, this brother got really great energy. And I just say, when you hit me up about the AI situation, I'm like, this is where we're going. I think last year around this time, we were supposed to
Right.
be doing something together on it. So I say, let's just go ahead and get it done, get the word out. All right. So first of all, I just
Right.
want to kind of get an introduction on number one, what got you into, well, first of all, give the people a little bit about who you are as a person, and then also, what got you into entrepreneurship.
All right. Right on. Well, CJ, I am Zimbabwean by birth, American by choice. I wasn't born in America, but I got here as fast as I could. So, I
Yeah.
started off. I came up to the U.S. to be a software engineer. And so
Okay.
that was where I started off. We grew up, where we were hearing about the billionaire babies, which was Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. That just made all of us want to be programmers and engineers, right? But we came from an environment where we had like one school one computer for 1,500 students. So you got your one chance on that computer, once a week. And I said to myself, where's the best place that I can educate myself? And I said, I'm going to go to the United States, and that's where I'm going to learn. So I came up here, 20 years ago, so I could start, learning. And I started software engineering. And of course, I studied computer science. And that's what got me into the software engineering field. Started out in New York working for one of those tech companies, and then just started developing my passion from there. Went naturally into marketing, and then becoming a marketing strategist, and then growing from that into an AI strategist. So it's been developing for years, but I can tell you that at the heart of it, I'm a coder, I'm an engineer at heart. So when I get into marketing and all of that other stuff, it helps me to be able to communicate from both sides, where you can talk about the technical side and you can talk about the non-tech side to help everybody to be on the same page.
Yeah, that's interesting. We had this conversation, I believe, last week or earlier this week, and you were telling me the both sides of it, because most of the time when I'm hearing like on the non-programming side, most people they know about. Hey, you can employ AI agents. You don't need to know how to code or anything like that. But when you have the expertise of an engineer, you could go into a system and program it the way it needs to be programmed. That's awesome, man. So let's talk. Let's take a little step on your entrepreneurial journey. Like what woke you up to the AI side of things?
So about 10 years ago, I was doing a contract with a company that was doing chatbots for their business. And they had already been doing bots that were working in their business, but they needed support. And when I started learning what that was doing in their business, where they already had that and they didn't need to have employees doing that work, they had two employees doing that, and they were managing over 360 bots. And I thought, wow, this is so interesting. So I got interested in machine learning because of that. And machine learning is what's at the heart of what you know now to be Chat GPT, OpenAI, all of the tools that you're seeing now. Machine learning is at the heart of that. So when I was learning that, it basically just means training a model with your data so that it can reproduce what you want it to reproduce. So at that point, the companies that would have had it would be like Netflix has it. They've had it for years. Mac has had, AI working with them for years. Microsoft. So the examples I can give you is if you go on Netflix right now and you turn on to watch whatever you want to watch, it's going to represent to you things that always going to suggest things that you should watch based on the data that it already has about you. Well, that's AI at work. It's a predictive, analysis of what a person might, and then suggest that to make the experience so much easier, so much friendlier, so much fresher for you so that it becomes a very easy thing to continuously choose that customer. When you're on your phone and you're texting and then it completes the word for you. That's it. That's an AI service that's helping you to choose that cell phone product. Now you don't know that it's enhancing your experience, but that's what it's doing. So, well, they started doing that over 10 years ago. So the reason that I got into it, I could already see where it was going because at that point, they were investing millions of dollars in terms of data to be able to train those models. You and I at that point didn't have the kind of millions that were going to be used for that process. However, as the years progressed and the data became increasingly larger, it became easier. And now they've created models where you and I can model our chatbots and be able to give them our information because that's now available. That's how big the opportunity is. We can now do what big companies would be able to do, and only they were able to do. We now have an opportunity to train our models and let them answer our customers with our information in a way that makes them have excellent experiences with our business.
Well, technology is an interesting thing in of itself because before technology, let's just say we go back to the agrarian era or where agriculture was predominant on how people worked, they got their food and everything else. The world was slow to change, right?
Right.
And then when machines were introduced into the world. So I could give you a timeline. The world didn't change over thousands of years, periods of thousands of years. Then when machines came in, now the world is changing at a pace of 100 years. And then now, because you think 1900s, the world changed when the cars
Mhm.
came out, when machines
Right.
and the industrial age was here. But, that's a short time ago based on world history. But now we have technology, the computers, the computer age, then the internet. And now we
Right.
have artificial intelligence being employed in a way that it's changing the world even more rapidly. So the world was changing. Let's say when the internet came out, then you had these big companies like Facebook, YouTube. They blew up. It's like iPhone has been out what, less than 20 years.
Right.
So you got the iPhone less than 20 years. Now we have AI. I think we're going to see the world change much more rapidly. And that's the thing that I'm more concerned about. Like, in your opinion, where do you think this thing is going to take us, man? Are we going to be in the era of Terminator and the Matrix, or where are we going to be at?
Well, I think you should. It's interesting that you say that. I have an email that I send out to people where the subline the subject line is AI evil? Because a lot of people have bought into those movies and where AI was something like an evil robot that operates all by itself. But let's really scale back and define what AI is. And I want to use a very layman terms definition of AI so that we can all be on the same page, right? And then we can explain where we think it's going. See, AI, the way that I describe it, is a big network of computers, a big network of computers that hear, listen, learn, understand, and then they execute decisions and tasks based on the things that they have heard, learned, and understood. Okay, so I'm going to run that again. AI is a big network of computers that listen, hear, learn, understand, and then they execute tasks and make decisions based on what they've understood. So coming back to what I said earlier, when you're watching Netflix, it has learned, listened, understood, and now it executes and based on decisions on things that it has learned about you. That's what AI is: predictive analytics, really learning the habits of people and then executing those in a way that makes it efficient for you to operate in a seamless fashion. So that means that where we are right now, oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Something is happening. I think you're mute.
No, no, I'm good. Hey, listen, I wanted you to stop to go back because you just dropped a terminology I think is important for everybody. Predictive
Mm,
analytics. Predictive
mm,
analytics. Now, this can be used even in business because here's the thing: there's not too many surprises in
right.
business today. There's not many things you can't predict. If you I'm
Hmm. Hmm.
45, man. If you've been around the corner a few times, you know what's going to be around the corner, right? I
Right,
said this, I say that the greatest basketball players, the greatest minds, they have what you just said. They
mm,
don't have a superpower is really predictive analytics. I
right,
like that,
right,
man. I like the way you put that. But in reality, that's where we need to have the mindset with this AI, predictive analytics. So, man,
right.
keep doing your thing. I just wanted to drop that in there, man.
Right on. And the level of accuracy that it comes with and the margin of error is very little compared to if you had the same tasks and you employ 10 people to do the same tasks. AI is able to execute that task in a much faster and more accurate and predictive way that can help you make a decision that would usually take you 5 days, 10 days to make. You can make that decision within an hour. And what that does is it multiplies your team. So if you had a team of 10 and you can 10x each one's work based on their ability to train them to be able to use these chatbots in a way that
Okay.
speaks to them and that produces results. You can be 100-man team with only 10 people, or you can be a
Wow.
10-man team with only one person. What does it take?
Wow.
It takes you to learning and understanding and getting in on the front end of the game. Because even though I said in the beginning that big companies have had this for years, for us, for people like us, coming in, it's not too late, right? A lot
Okay.
of I posted a video that everyone needs AI on my YouTube channel, and then somebody said, "Well, sure thing, Sherlock, right? Could you guess, right?" And he was basically what he was saying was everybody already knows that, but what he didn't know is that everyone doesn't know how to use it properly in a way that it actually benefits them. See, it's easy to just have an AI tool where you type the lazy quote, prompt like, let me know how the best 10 restaurants in Orlando, the best 10 marketing strategies. That's basic. That's borderline. When you now understand how to use the prompt in a way that it can generate for you a book, it can generate for you an analysis based off of your book. Let's say your book is what's your FICO, right? Imagine I can take your whole book and say, write for me a marketing plan for a business based on Lawrence Martin's What's Your FICO, and use Lawrence Martin's voice to create for me a sales plan that allows me to communicate with what's the the credit companies of this work of this of the United States so that they can give me a loan. And it takes everything that you say in your book and it summarizes that and then it humanizes it in such a way that I can use your information, your script, your book to create a business plan that helps me to get $1 million. Now, see, that's more than just, oh, write me a script, let, let me know the 10 best restaurants, right? So when you understand how to do that, the future of that means that we can literally be dangerous. I mean, not dangerous in a bad way. You're muted right now.
Right. You you
Not,
know, you know,
not,
one of the
not
things
dangerous,
I'm gonna
but
say,
bad. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I was gonna say something about that. Like there's a terminology, running the play, right? You could
Yes.
put a team together. You could have superstars on your team, but if you don't know how to run the play, if you don't know how to coach, my whole mindset now is leverage, right?
Leverage.
Leveraging
Right on.
AI, leveraging AI for the purpose of business and generating value and income. Now, here's what a
Mm,
lot of people a lot of people want to go from using AI and replacing employees. the
right.
the the point of it all is using AI to leverage of whatever value system you already put in place. If you don't have
Right
a
on.
value system in place, then you won't know what to do or how to prompt the AI to do what you wanted to do. So I
Right
think
on.
most importantly, if you're a strategist, I think this is the age of the strategists, right? The
This
age
is.
of the
This is.
creators and the age of the strategists. So you can't just be someone who just creates. You have to be someone who can create and strategize. And the great thing about it is you also have the GPT, the chat GPTs that will allow you to strategize as well. I mean, have a full conversation with them, you know, because
Yeah.
they have the predictive analytics built into the systems, and they're only getting
Mhm.
better. And that's for our benefit, not so that we can be laxed or lazy and not thinker of just being able to think through problems, but also being able to strategize and put things in place as well.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like when, you're old enough now to remember when the, scientific calculator came out, you know, and when that came out, like it made things way easier, right? But what it did, it didn't replace your ability to grow and think. It made it easier for you to do certain things that took a lot of your time and released you to being able to do things that made you more productive. And when you think about AI, what it's doing is teams of marketing teams. I've worked with businesses where the marketing teams are often stretched very thin. And what AI does is it helps them to scale without, having to hire additional staff. And that leads to like significant, time savings, operational efficiency, which, and reducing again for human error. Think of AI
Okay.
as having, if you have 5 employees, think of it as having a sixth employee, right? Who never
Uh-huh.
takes who never asks for a day off, who never gets sick, and who works for you 24/7. So some people have looked at that as an opportunity to reduce their staff and fire people. And that's not the way that I want people to think about AI. I want you to think of AI as your ability to maximize and grow your team that you had so that they become so efficient. It feels like if they just 5 of you there, it needs to feel like 50 of you there. AI is
Mm,
like an army of 10,000 people just waiting for you for the right command to execute
mm,
everything that you need to execute. The things that used to take you so long to do, you can now do so quick, and you can make a decision that can bring you money. I'll give you a practical example, right?
okay.
We don't have time to do it right now, but in my class that I train, I show people
Mhm.
how I can make it took me, and I'm going to ask you this too, because it took me about a year to write my first book, Becoming the CEO of Your Life. It took me a year to write that book. And you know what? It's only 100 pages, but I wanted it to be 100 pages of quality, like you did with your book. And then
Mhm.
I got AI, and then I wrote an ebook, which is 150 pages long. And guess how long it took? It took me 10 minutes. And the
Wow.
and the data and the information in there was so good. I just went in and changed a couple of things, humanized it a little bit so that it's got my stories, because AI is not able to yet tell stories, right? It's not able to
Mhm.
uh, relate the human element of, AI can't speak to you about last week, for example. It can't say last week I was feeling cold, right? It can't say
Yeah.
that, but it can give you abstract data. So you can take that and humanize it in a way that a person reading it can be able to be like, okay, I'm understanding where this person is coming from. So I was able to do that in 10 minutes and create a cover for it, and then put it on my website and make it a lead generator and say, you can download how to use AI. And 100 people came in, downloaded it right then. And already I had 100 leads just from 10 minutes of work. Now, that used to take a long time to do
Yes.
that book. It took me a year.
Yes. Yes.
So
You know what's
imagine the significant cut of time and
yes.
efficiency that happened.
You know what's interesting? I'm gonna tell you something interesting. When I was talking about, let's just say when back in the day when books started to come out, like when there's writing, there were actual books, right? The people that knew how to read ruled the world because
Uh-huh.
they knew how to organize information, put it on paper, right? Now we have AI, it's going to be similar. It's like, well, the people that understand how to access the AI and tell the AI what to do, they're going to
Mm,
be running the world. But everybody else is
right.
just sitting back, just, just going on, go along, get along, whatever. But if the
Right.
person that knows how to run the AI and strategize, those are the people that are going to be leading. One second, boss.
Right. And, and that's so important. Here's why what you just said is so important. People need to get how big this opportunity is. We are right now, right back where Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were when programming started out and it became a big thing, and that Time magazine cover came out and brought out the billionaire babies. We are in that moment again, because where else are you going to find an opportunity where you can be a designer without having a designing degree? You can have expert photography without having any real learning knowledge of photography, where you can even create copy, which used to cost so much money just to create advertising copy, where you can do that without having the marketing degree. Where else are you going to be able to have the skill set to create ads without having the knowledge of the background knowledge that it used to take to create them? And guess what? Do it in a fraction of the time. So the people who get in now and understand, hey, this is where we need to be, and we need to understand this, and then we need to be the ones who disseminate the knowledge. And trust me, those people are not going to be a lot of people. It's only going to be a very few, but the ones that do take this and run with it are going to be the world changers. And I'm talking about in the very near future, in about a year, 2 years, we're going to talk about billionaires that started with us right now, and they're going to be world changers. And I will be amongst them, and you too.
I want to ask you. I want to ask you a few questions about.
Oh, you're muted right now. You're I could hear you if you unmute. I, I still can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
All right. So I wanted to ask you a few things.
Mm-hmm.
One, as of right now, what can business owners do? Maybe three AI prompts or three different types of AI agents that they can use in their business right now.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So when you look at a business right now, there are about 5 fundamentals that a business needs, maybe 6. The first one is going to be content creation. Any business that's functioning right now needs to be creating content and interacting with their customers. And COVID, if nothing else, the pandemic taught us that you need to be communicating, and content creation was when that kind of blew up. So number one, content creation. Number two, being able to take that content creation and funnel it into a marketing strategy, marketing your tools, and being able to have that content drive the customer to your product. That's number two. Number three, being able to have the customer service that it takes when the customer now comes in, so that you can convert that client and to help them to be able to get to the next level, which is to be able to fulfill that order so that they can have that which they ordered, right? And then you've got other things like the going back and retargeting and helping that customer to be able to be nurtured so that they become a customer for life. So these are 5 things that we're just going to talk about, right? Let's think about that. So the first thing, content creation. It
Okay.
used to really need for you to have a camera, a mic, makeup, shoes, brand new suit, whatever it takes for men and women to be ready to do video. Now you can create a chatbot and a avatar that can create video for you. So think about what that does in cutting costs, where you don't need a professional mic, you don't need a professional camera, you don't need to hire a cameraman, or you can just hire someone, or you can download a tool like Artlist. Artlist comes with voiceovers, it comes with video, it comes with visuals that you can use, and all of that. You can create that to set up an ad and create content that's going to speak to your audience about the thing that you need. And guess what? You don't even need to be a creative. You just need to know how to prompt Chat GPT so that you know what to say and how to say it to this kind of audience who is experiencing this kind of problem. So that takes care of content creation. And then the marketing piece, you got to just look at, okay, what is marketing? Marketing is creating a desire in other people to buy your product, right? So how do you create that desire? Well, once you got that product out, and you've got the copy or the ads that can speak to them directly so that they can be lifting their hands and saying, I'm the person you're talking to. Well, what does that take? It takes understanding what they are going through. if you have predictive and analytics of what typical people who are going through a divorce go through, and you can literally pick up all that information, you can put that in an ad, and you can have those people calling you as a lawyer all day because you've touched on what they actually want. You used to have to pay someone for that. You can find that in an hour, create a book, create a product, and create a video that speaks directly to them. Number three, customer service. A lot of people used to have to hire, I used to do this, I'm sure you did the same, hire people in the Philippines so that they can answer calls, interact with our customers. Well, here's the problem with that. When we spend all this money on ad spend, right? And we spend this much money trying to get leads to come in, and then they call in, and then someone in the Philippines answers, they don't understand the value of that lead or what it cost me to get that lead. Well, they can fumble that. They can drop the ball. And what they do is they waste my resource, right? Instead of doing that, I can train a chatbot to speak to my client in a way that they are nurtured and that they are ready and primed to speak to me, so that I know I only get the qualified leads that I need to speak to because they've been qualified in advance. And I don't have to have people calling in the Philippines and they can't understand each other and the calls are being dropped. I only get to speak to high quality leads because they've already been nurtured. So when you think about that, already that reduces you paying for virtual assistants in the Philippines. It reduces you having to hire a particular person to do that. And it releases you from not doing it. And then you just get to the bag. You just get to communicating and offering your expertise to the people that you need to offer them to. And then the last thing is that's the customer service piece, but the fulfillment piece. Hey, look, if I say I'm going to write you a book and I'm going to write you a book, I can do it in 2 days. If I say I'm going to voice over your book, if I take What's Your FICO and I want to do a voiceover of that, I can clone your voice, write you your book,
Yes.
and put it on audible.com in 2 days. Think about that. You know how long it took me to do an Audible for my book? It took me 10 hours.
Wow.
Sitting in
Yeah.
the studio
That's good,
recording
man,
it.
because look, I tried to do it, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I actually hired out. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and read this book, fumble over
Right?
words. And no, man, I'm gonna just hire somebody. But yeah, man, I actually there's an app called 11 Labs. I've been messing with that a little bit, man, and I put my information in, my audio in, and hey, bro, it cloned pretty good, pretty
It
good.
clones your voice pretty good. And you can use that to answer, certain voicemails. You can use that to create, scripts that you just are not going to do yourself. You can have your staff working to do that for you while you're, in Mauritius on the beach somewhere. It frees up the two things that we all look for, which is time and money. That's what this does. That's how big the opportunity is. It
Yeah,
frees you up so that you can have both time and money. You don't want to just have money and then you
right,
don't have time. You don't want to have money,
right,
the time is you don't have money. This does
right.
both for you.
Because you know what's amazing? We live in some peculiar times, right? On one hand, we're living in the ever-changing environment of AI, politics, and all the things that come along with that, this economy and everything else. But we live in one of the greatest times to be alive, simply because we live in one of the greatest times of resources.
Mm-hmm,
And historically, this world has been run by resources. Either
mm-hmm.
you did, if you had the resources, or you didn't. But AI kind of levels the playing field. We all got
Mm-hmm.
24 hours in a day, right? But when you have AI, you can go on an app and create content just like anyone else. And most
Right.
people in the world now have some access to internet or iPhone. They could create content. And content is unique to you. No one can create content the way you create content. So I think
That's right.
that's the level playing field, you being 100% you and using that content to leverage this AI. Yeah,
That's right. So that's
That's,
that's huge, man. And that's why I
yeah,
wanted to highlight those 5 areas because every business is going to be concerned about that. If you're in business today, those 5 areas have to be things that you care about. Content creation, marketing, being able to support your customer, being able to fulfill their needs, and being able to follow up. These are very important things in a business. And unless you have those, you're going to be struggling. And so if you have the opportunity to learn how to have all of them. Why wouldn't you take it?
Man, this has been great. This has been awesome, brother. I appreciate you just, stepping in. I know we've been talking about kind of doing something together with getting the word out about AI. And you're just a guy to do that with your background and your expertise in software engineering and also on the side of AI as well. And I appreciate you dropping some of the gems. Well, listen, guys, if you want to get with CJ, CJ, go ahead and drop your information so everyone can know how to look you up.
All right, so right now you can get me at aiskill.biz. So aiskill.biz, and we'll put that in the chat so that you
Okay.
can probably put it on the screen. But
Right.
aiskill.biz, yeah, you get to learn what we're doing in AI, so you can give yourself a fighting chance. And I've also
Okay.
got gethighticketleads.com. You can go to that as well, where you can be able to learn AI. But if you go to aiskills.com or getcoolleads.com. Those two, you can be able to actually sign up, get an ebook, and be able to
Okay.
actually learn a class that I do. You can equip yourself for AI.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, guys, I'm not going to hold you long. I know you've got a lot of just value and a ton of knowledge with this. We'll have the conversation going because I believe that's where it's at. It's like so many people are on the fence about what to do and how to use AI. But if you give people steps, just like you gave them 5 reasons why they should, that's amazing. I think that's the conversation we should build on. So people won't feel overwhelmed by this AI, man.
Right.
But yeah, man, definitely any final thoughts you want to leave everyone before we get off?
I think the biggest thing is that change is inevitable. And the people that like change are the people that get in on the front end of change. And they're the ones that make that redirect where life goes. And the people that wait and kind of wait at the ledge and never learn to swim, they're the ones that have to pay for it. So it's either you've got to decide, are you going to be on the cutting edge of technology, or are you going to be on the bleeding edge of technology? A lot of people who are choosing not to be on the cutting edge, in other words, not to enroll in classes, not to really learn, they're going to be on the bleeding edge because they're going to have to be paying for what they don't know. And yet the opportunity to learn and become the ones that's on the cutting edge of technology is now here. So there's a really good story that I heard about Australia. They say that back in the agricultural times, this is back in the 18s, 1900s, they were issuing out land, and land was for free. Basically, all you needed to do was to sign up. Well, some people who thought that land was going to be of value, they signed up. But there were people there who didn't want to sign up. And what they wanted to do was to be able to work on the land and not bear the responsibility of learning to have the land and how to do that. And what they would do is they would travel from different places and help and give a helping hand and be paid something for helping. Well, when land became of much more value free and now you needed to pay for it, they became the people whose children inherited the labor for all of these generations to come. In other words, when you were a landlord in that time, you became a landlord throughout the 1900s, and you became the millionaires of the of the early 1900s to the 2000, to the as the years progressed. And here's what happened: a lot of those people never recovered because they just all their lives, all they were going to be laborers. Well, I tell that story to relate to where we are now. You see, because now we have an opportunity where the playing field has been leveled, like you said. And a lot of people are going to be swags in this generation. They're going to say, well, I'll just learn my bare little bit and let it help me to write letters. And what they're going to be is they're going to become the swags of this generation, because those of us who have understood the assignment and why this is important are taking land, taking territory in this AI. And 5 years from now, our children and our generations are the ones that are going to be telling the generations to come that changed our lives. That's why I'm encouraging you right now. GetCoolLeads.com. GetCoolLeads.com. Watch the training. At least understand what it does. And then decide if you want to be a part, right? So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, man, the man himself, Cee Jay Besa. And you got, hey, listen, man, I am so inspired by your story and your journey, your testimony. Listen, you're a testament to seizing opportunity,
Right
right?
on.
Because everyone doesn't have the opportunities, right? And here's the thing. 50 years ago, there was no such thing as AI. AI
Right.
is going to revolutionize Hollywood, music, all the things that we used to do are now going to be taken out of our hands. But one thing that's not going to be taken out of our hands is the ability to think, strategize, and put it all together.
Right
Right.
on.
So, CJ, man, thank you so much for coming out. And listen, man, we're going to have to do this routinely to get the word out. So, guys,
Right
look
on.
look for part two coming soon. All right.
Right
Peace out.
on.
You guys have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Right on. Take care.
Take care.